guy. For a 65-year-old, you score very well.
It says 78, that's not age weighted?
No, the 78 points is out of 100.
Yeah, but out of any age, or is it weighted by my age?
It's weighted by your age. Yeah, so for a 65-year-old, you're doing very well. Wow. You're looking for muscle. You have muscle.
Oh, good. I'm feeling kind of weak about it.
Do you exercise a lot? You just control your eating? You drink enough water? Yeah.
Is that what it said?
Mm-hmm. Yes, you drink. Do you? What do you think?
It seems like I have to think about it because I tend not to.
Yeah, we all have to think about it. Yes, I have to think about it to drink. Yeah, your fat mass, body fat. Just a bit on the body fat side.
Yeah, I'm being lazy.
About 10 pounds. So that's interesting. So it's really the conversion to muscle.
My friend said that kind of tells you what area of your body the fat is.
Yeah, you will see all of that, the detail there. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to give it to you. I'm just looking at the highlights. Oh, your blood pressure is very good. But are you on medication?
I take supplements.
What kind of supplements do you take?
Unical and Combine.
I don't know those. Where do you get them from?
Unical is really high on precursors.
Oh, okay.
And the Amari is varieties of protein and nutritional.
Okay. What do you do for work?
I do a little bit of window cleaning still.
Okay.
I just sit around here.
Well, you look like you're very healthy. Have you been taking supplements for quite some time?
Yeah, well, just in the last 2 years I've kind of picked up more.
Okay. And what happened? Why was that? If I may ask. Because you look very, very healthy for your age, which is kind of rare. In the country, it's kind of rare.
Yeah.
Yes, for a 65-year-old, I'm looking at your report and I'm thinking it's really very good. Well, it's on the very good side.
Relatively, right?
Well, yes, comparatively. Yeah. And it shows that you're healthy. You've been taking, but you don't work out. So that's where that fat muscle balance issue is. Yeah. I haven't put the battery in yet.
Probably the other thing I do wrong is I eat late.
Yeah, that's my problem too. Yeah.
I'm working on, I don't have time to mess with being home until that time of day.
Yeah. Okay. That's your report anyway. So how was the experience like doing your body composition? How was the experience doing it?
Very easy.
Very easy?
I was a little shocked at what I said my height was.
We are all shocked by that machine. Did it say you were shorter than what you thought you were? You know that machine I think it's just there to give me some bad feelings. It always tells me I'm shorter than what I thought I was.
It's like a whole inch.
Like a whole inch, right? Exactly. I thought I was 5'11". It said I'm 5'10". So that's not a very good thing. So anyway, let's, I'll give you something else for that. There you go. Yeah, we're going to start with that. Yeah. All right, so let's start. So let me introduce myself and the clinic. So my name is Charles Sine. I'm the CEO of Anti-Fragility Health. Dr. E is the president of our company. She's on the bike, right? You'll see our staff. So we have staff here working today. We have some patients back in the clinic. And typically we run Saturday workshops, and we're going to start running Sunday workshops from next week. Our Sunday workshops are going to be around weight loss, but our Saturday workshops are around a couple physiological areas. I'm going to talk to you about that right now. So typically, we look at lifestyle. We look at what we call lifestyle attributes. Because we focus here on lifestyle. And the first one is diet. The second one is exercise. The third one is sleep. The fourth one is hydration. The fifth one is toxicity. The sixth one is nutrients. And the seventh one is relaxation and meditation. Really, the compounding issues of stress. So these are really the 7 things that we focus on, and we implement that in very different ways. And to impact these 7 systems, we look at what we call 6 physiological systems. We look at hormones, so we'll run workshops on hormones. We'll run workshops today like on immunity. We'll run workshops on stress. We will run workshops on intestinal systems. We run workshops on cardiometabolic. And we run workshops on, I'm forgetting the last one. What is the last one? So there's gastro, there's cardio, there's stress, there's immunity, and there is musculoskeletal. And we have questionnaires on all of these areas because these 6 areas actually, from a physiological perspective, will give you an overall perception of your health. These are the physiological functions that give us a sense of wellness. So when you're doing these lifestyle things, they're actually reflected in the overall physiology. And we measure this in what we call our clinical biomarkers. What you have just done, what we call a body scan. That body scan gives us a good sense of the musculoskeletal architecture. We run labs or diagnostics on your blood. We do what we call intracellular and extracellular. We do your urine. Urine will give us toxicity and stress or cortisol. We'll run things on your stool, and your stool would give us the pathogens, diversity, and the metabolites to give us the integrity of your gastro wall. So most of our tests would include that, plus the underlying genetics that we also do so that we understand your susceptibilities. Okay, so this really defines the work that we do in the clinic. So a lot of the diagnostics and the tracking of your clinical biomarkers gives us strong indications of what's happening in the underlying physiology. And that physiology really is impacted by the things that you do in your lifestyle. Okay, does that make sense? Any questions on that? We good? Okay. So today we are going to focus on one of those systems, which is immunity. So typically, this is the focus of our Saturday workshops. we educate people on that, and on Sundays, we will be looking at most of that, and the representation that it shows within your physiology is actually from a weight, you want to close that down? It's from a weight management perspective, okay? Is that making sense? Okay? So if you want to join us every Saturday, we're always going to be talking about one of those topics. So today we're going to talk about immunity, okay? Let's go ahead. So I gave you this small booklet, so let's just walk through it. Here, President. Okay, so let's just walk through it. So on the first page, I know we're Americans, we always want to see what's inside. Let's just start on the first page and get educated, okay? So from infections to autoimmunity, it's a comprehensive lifestyle approach. So let's look at the different diseases that show up as expressions of immune problems, right? Sinus infections, upper respiratory tract infections, UTI yeast infections, rashes, rheumatoid arthritis, eczema and psoriasis, Crohn's and ulcerative colitis, fibromyalgia, Hashimoto's and Graves, and multiple sclerosis. So these are all outcomes that are driven by an underlying immune system, or when the immune system goes wrong. But before we really step into the immune system, there is a reason why we put the gastrointestinal architecture at the top from a physiology perspective. It is really the driver for all of these systems, even including the immune system, because almost 80% of the immune system is really lining our gastrointestinal tract. And what is the objective? It is to actually deal with all the pathogens that are coming from outside into our body, through the air, through water, and through food, okay? So if you turn into that, any questions, comments so far? Okay. So even if you look at stress, if I just spend a bit of time here, a lot of the drivers for stress are inflammation drivers, which actually are driven from what's happening in the gastrointestinal area. The most immune problems, as you see there, most of that immunity would come when that whole gastro tract is invaded. Hormones significantly would also affect, and cardiometabolic issues are also driven from that underlying inflammation from your gastro in terms of absorption and what's happening in your lining, and the expression also in your muscles and in your skeleton. Comments so far? No, let's go to yes.
Where would you situate blood and lymph in that system?
Sorry?
Where would you situate blood and lymph within that?
The blood and the lymph? It's situated inside your gastro because all of them
So
are
it's come
supporting
under
the gastrointestinal structure.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay? All right. All right, so let's go ahead and talk on the next page. The timeline for immune development. From the beginning of life, we are forming our immune systems. Critical steps along the way determine if we have a strong, healthy immune system or a weak, inefficient one. Often, the first signs of immune system weakness is repetitive acute infections, such as colds, sinus infections, and UTI. These infections, coupled with medication use and poor lifestyle habits, can create the perfect storm for chronic diseases such as multiple sclerosis, lupus, and rheumatoid arthritis. You get that? A weakened immune system. So we'll take a look at the key factors that can disrupt immune development. One of the big questions that I know most Americans don't understand, the question is, did you enter the world through cesarean section or vaginal delivery, right? That's a key contribution on your immune system development. When babies pass through the vaginal canal, they get the first dose of healthy bacteria needed for the immune system development. If this does not occur, it hinders the body's ability to handle foreign invaders, leaving children susceptible to infections and increases the risk of allergies.
Makes you wonder if they know that.
Who? The children or their mothers?
Although the
Exactly.
obstetricians would like to do come up with any excuse to do a cesarean section.
Yeah, but we should also understand that in the olden days, a lot of women died from
Yeah.
childbirth because of that issue. And so that option was developed. And so a lot of women who don't want to go through the pain of labor would opt for that. I think it's an issue of balance. There's some women who need it, and there's some women who do not. The question is, are we making the right, appropriate judgments? And do we understand the implications of making this decision? I think that's the point you're making.
No, no.
You were making a deeper point.
Yeah, it's not the right time to bring it up.
All right, okay. You understand that, right? So when we're talking about immune development, so once you have this, you were born through cesarean, your immune system is challenged for the rest of your life. That's just what it's saying. Because that initial immune development requirement was not met. Secondly, have you used antibiotics to treat an infection recently or repeatedly? Antibiotics alter the bacterial levels in the gut. If you notice, we keep going back to the gut. That's why I said your gastrointestinal system is really at the core of the architecture of the immune system. So we keep going back to the gut, right? The first one was how you were born and how that gut bacteria got affected, which develops then appropriate immune system. And now it is your use of medication, antibiotics, that disturbs the overall gut bacteria diversity itself. It is the diversity that's affected by antibiotics. So when bacterial levels become out of balance, and the key issue about being out of balance is that 80% of the bacteria in the stomach is the good bacteria, 70 to 80%, and 30% is what we call the bad bacteria. Not that they're bad, they have a very good role to play, and that balance needs to be there. So when you take antibiotics and it changes that balance, then it affects your immune system, right? It is called dysbiosis. Bacterial imbalance is linked to symptoms such as recurring infections, frequent colds and flus, diarrhea and constipation, and even autoimmune conditions, okay? So a lot of people are out there taking a lot of antibiotics. Well, that's if you also eat chicken, you end up getting a lot of antibiotics, right? So what's the next one? Do you have any negative food reactions? I don't have any negative food reactions. Do you have any?
I may have.
May, I don't understand. You just don't eat the food? Vincent, can you put that off the TV off?
Sure, yeah.
You don't eat at all, or you think, or you don't know, or...
Well, just based on the result the next day.
Oh, really? Whether it worked or not. So let's look at it. Do you have any food reactions?
No.
You don't. Okay. Food sensitivities indicate that food particles are leaking through your intestines, causing an immune response. This is the big thing that everybody's talking about called leaky gut, right? This can cause indigestion, headaches, and skin rashes, and is a very high risk factor in the development of autoimmunity. So do you notice that as we are going along, every conversation about immunity is really about your gut? That's why the gut is really something that we focus on a lot here. So let's look at the next question. Did you know how poor food choices influence your immune system? Food acts as a building blocks throughout the body, providing important nutrients for growth and repair. If poor dietary habits persist, immune cells may not receive the nutrients needed to function appropriately. This can result in weight gain, diabetes, autoimmune diseases, poor quality of life, and sickness. Right? Do you make good food choices? Do you know what good food choices are?
I think so.
Why are you saying you think?
There's always things you don't know.
Yes, that's true. What about you? You make good food choices?
Try.
What is try?
Sometimes cheat.
It means that do you cheat deliberately or you just try?
No, just because sometimes there is no time, sometimes lazy to do, because I cook at home.
Oh, that's true. We do some cooking too. Okay. All right. Are you sleeping 8 hours at night? So let me answer that question before we go ahead. Do you sleep 8 hours a night? Why not? You don't like sleeping?
No, I don't know why. It's been 40 years, I don't sleep at all.
What?
I don't sleep. If I tell you something, you don't believe, you think I'm exaggerated. One time, 12 days I didn't sleep.
That you would die.
Yes.
That's not
What I don't
Is
know.
it because you worry about money,
No.
stress?
Money, for me, it's nothing.
Okay.
Never.
Okay. Did you ever find out why you don't sleep? Do you use
I
any
went to
sleep
the
aid?
doctor and
Yeah.
they said we can't know, we don't know why you
Wow.
don't sleep.
But then all of a sudden you started sleeping again?
Now I sleep 3-4 hours.
Really? Wow. What about you, sir?
Um,
Like me, you sleep a lot?
But
it seems like I want to sleep because I need it, but I don't have a very good, I don't give myself the right environment for good sleep.
Well, you seem to be too knowledgeable. Have you been dealing with all of this stuff before, lifestyle stuff?
Yes.
Which clinic do you go to, or who's been helping you?
I'm one of those friends that was supposed to be here.
Oh, he's one of the doctors who's supposed to be here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. They've been here before, right, Vincent?
Yes,
Is he,
he has the two friends came here.
they're doctors, right?
Now
He said one of them is a doctor.
Well, yeah. And it's the other one that's,
He's a chiropractor or?
no, I'm not sure what name to give him. He's very studied.
Oh yeah, he's an MD?
No.
he,
Oh.
he is study upstairs.
Oh, yeah, I know he's in a study upstairs. But what does he do? Yeah, he participated in one of our clinical trials. Oh, I thought he was a clinician.
I guess you could use that word.
Oh, okay. All right. So you were going to say something, sir? Sorry.
Yeah, just after 12, it's not only one time it's happened, many times happened.
Mm.
And all these days, I'm so active, I can do exercise, I do all my job.
No
It's like
sleep.
it's like I'm on drugs. Even I went to the doctors, I told them, please check me, maybe somebody putting drugs on my food or something. He said, no,
Wow. That's interesting.
this is unbelievable.
I wish I had that much energy and could survive on such little sleep.
And
But
every
you know,
day-
long term, that's not
And
good for
every
you.
day I do push-up,
Yes.
60 times a day.
So that you can sleep.
No,
Yeah.
just because I have so much energy.
Wow. That's good. I need that kind of energy, right? I see your face. You are thinking, I need that too.
Well, probably worth keeping him alive.
Yes, exactly. All right, so the last question, are immune health challenges in your gene? So that's one of the reasons why we do genetics, because it allows us to look at your susceptibility. Since a genetic, we either call it a susceptibility or a predisposition, affects the development of certain autoimmune diseases, family history is an important risk factor. Most people are unaware that they can control disease onset with their lifestyle choices. Making sure to eat healthy food, avoiding toxins, getting adequate sleep, and exercising are all healthy lifestyle choices that can alter whether your body expresses disease. That's why we focus on that. Is that making sense? Because this is really what drives whether the physiological systems are going to be. Can you check the door? What's happening at the door? Okay, and so that's what it goes on to talk about there in a lot more detail. I just thought I should share that with you. So, any questions so far? So let's walk through some of the details. I gave you the handbook. Okay. So this handbook, on the first page, if you turn to this page, page 2, I think, we're going to go through 5, 6 things. Lifestyle medicine, which we've talked about, diet, lifestyle, and the immune system, the gastrointestinal health, stress management, toxins and environment, and supplements for immune enhancement, okay? So if we look at overall lifestyle, right, there are 4 big things there that we talk about that really affect your immunity, right? We're talking about diet, we're talking about your gastrointestinal health, we talk about toxins, toxicity in the environment, and we talk about also stress management, we talk about relaxation and meditation as part of that. So this is stuff that you can take with you. And then these are the nutrients or micronutrients on the next page that actually help with immune response. Do you take all of these nutrients on this page?
Probably,
Probably.
not separately.
While you take them in combination with other things?
I'd have to look at what's in what I am taking to see if they're all in there, but I'm pretty sure they
So what you're taking, where do you buy that?
Online.
Okay, so is there a specific store you buy it from?
No, I don't go to the store and get it.
No, I mean a web store online. So is it on Amazon or there's a specific store you buy?
No,
Is Amway, you said?
it's a company.
Amway is the.
Has an online presence, so there's no store you go to.
Oh,
physically.
all right. Oh, you don't want to share what company it is?
Oh, the 2 main ones right now is Amare and
Amare,
Immunico.
Immunico, and Amare. Okay. All right, guys, check those. I haven't heard of them, so it's
Now, the
interesting.
Amare is really kind of like your rally as far as, what were we talking about? The gastrointestinal balances.
Yes, for the
It's
barrier
very
function.
concentrated on bacterial and gastrointestinal balance.
Yes. Okay. And it's spelled A-M-A-R-E.
Right.
Amare. Okay. All right. Thank you for that. So, do you take these supplements that are listed? Why not? You don't like taking them?
No, I don't believe in supplements. Really.
You don't believe in supplements? What do you believe in?
Food. Good
Well,
food.
but how well you cannot meet all your
Yeah, I know.
requirements just eating food,
It's true.
right? Yes. So you
Now
say
when I start coming to this morning lectures, I start changing my mind about all these things.
well, you have a stubborn brain. He used to be like that too, and then he changed
Yeah,
his
because
mind.
now I'm more
Did you
knowledgeable
change your
about
mind
these
too?
things.
You used to think supplements were not important.
I become more convinced that our food supply is inadequate.
You see the point?
Yeah.
And that is really the issue, that our food supply is inadequate. Even if you eat really very well,
Just the soil is.
it's
The
not.
soil
It's depleted.
doesn't have what you're gonna.
That's why
the
I
soil doesn't have
start
what you
coming
need,
every
then you're not gonna get it to a
Saturday.
plant because it doesn't have it available.
That's the key point. Do you get that, sir?
Yes.
Yeah. The food supply from the soil does not have what it used to have 50, 100 years ago, or in the old country. The soil here is depleted, and it's not being allowed to fallow You know, in the old country, we would let the soil sit for about 7 years because we would be moving around and we'll plant legumes or things before we plant other things because it replenishes the earth. I don't think even here in high school they teach children about letting the land fallow. If I ask my kids that, they wouldn't even know what following the land meant,
Yeah.
right? But that's a big practice in my culture.
Maybe the same thing as me and you, maybe we have similarity.
Yeah.
Because I used to live in a
In a farm.
culture, in a farm. We have our own meat, our own sheep, plants, everything is ours.
Mhm.
But I'm just wondering how farmers know naturally. They said we have to use this land, we have to let this land for 5 years.
It's passed through history.
History, right?
Yes,
It's like
through history. When illnesses have happened, the cultures have learned, like Ayurvedic cooking, right? Which we are now practicing, which is that if you cook food for a long time, as they cook in Ayurvedic cooking, it actually breaks the
Hey, hello.
Come right in. We're welcoming Americans. Come sit down, come sit down.
Sit down.
Thank you.
Hello, sit down. Good to see you. Good morning. So we started class already, and we are running class today on immunity. Yeah. So we started before you guys, but I would just follow up and. So we are on this page. So I'll just introduce to you who I am. My name is Charles Sina. I'm the CEO of the clinic Anti-Fragility Health. We practice lifestyle and functional medicine. Dr. E is the president of the company. We also run a clinical research company upstairs. So we run these workshops every Saturday, and from next week we're going to be running them on Sundays. So I apologize, gentlemen. I'll just give them a quick overview on where we are, and then we'll catch up. So typically we focus on these 7 things in terms of lifestyle attributes: diet, exercise, sleep, hydration, toxicity, nutrients, and relaxation. These are the things that keep us healthy. This clinic is focused on wellness. Because if you don't take action on being well, you're gonna get sick. So, right? We call it that being healthy is a revolutionary act. You have to choose to be healthy. Health doesn't just come, right? And how do we know? What are the systems that we look at to know that you're healthy? We look at your gastrointestinal health, stress health, immune health, hormonal health, musculoskeletal health, and cardiometabolic health. Those 6 things, we measure them here very precisely with new and emerging technologies. Most of you today are going to do your body scan. We have a machine that would do your musculoskeletal analysis and tell us exactly what's going on in your body. We do blood tests, very extensive, more than any of your doctors would have prescribed. We do what we call intracellular and extracellular blood. We look at what's inside your blood and what's inside your cell. Because some people have enough in their blood, but not enough in their cell. Some people don't have enough in their blood and they don't have enough in the cell. So when we intervene with these lifestyle things, we are looking at specifically what's going. That's why we call it personalized medicine. We also look at your urine. We want to look at the toxicity in your urine. There are a lot of healthy people who walk in here, like our patient last week, and they have cesium and thallium in their urine, which really comes from vegetables that are grown around areas where there's a lot of toxicity or fracking, right? So a lot of those radioactive elements are piling up inside your body, or just from driving on the freeway, or from your car, or the new carpets that you have, all that toxicity. And we also check your cortisol levels in terms of your stress and how well you're managing your stress. We also look at your stool. We have advanced diagnostics around that. We want to look at the pathogen diversity, the different kinds of bacteria that's in your gut, and the balance of those bacteria, because that balance is a very important aspect of your GI health. And we also want to look at the metabolites, whether there's a leak in that lining. Then we also want to look at your genetics, whether you were given good genes, good mutations. Some of us came with a good set of genes to survive in the desert, or some were given good set of genes to survive in winter, right? You know how we've chosen, oh, I like to live in Boston, but your genes were not made for you to live in Boston. There's a reason why God put us in different places in the world to live, right? He wasn't stupid. And then we say, oh yeah, but this is what I like. And then you move down, why am I always sick? Well, because genetically the food and the weather were not made for you. Do you get that? So now how do you reorganize your lifestyle so that you can stay healthy? You understand? All of those things, the architect was smart enough to design them appropriately. Okay? Are we good? That's what we do in this clinic. Everybody good? All right, so let's go. We were on this page. And so we were talking about immunity. At the core of immunity, what drives immunity is actually your gastrointestinal health. And if you look at the little book, later on you can read it. It takes you through the timeline. We had some interesting conversations here about the first one. Did you enter the world through cesarean or vaginal delivery? A lot of people don't know that if you were born through cesarean, your immune system is screwed for most of your life.
Screwed?
Yes. Because the bacteria from vaginal birth did not populate your GI appropriately for life. Well, yeah, there's a lot
Say
of
that
it.
again, I'm sorry, Doc. You said
I'm not a doc.
Okay.
It's all right. So
If you were born vaginally versus cesarean,
yes,
which is best?
obviously the way God made it.
Naturally.
Yes.
Amen.
The way God made it. And so so our gentleman friend visitor was saying, well, I don't think many doctors and patients know that. Well, because in the traditional medical care, people don't tell you the implications for health and wellness.
But I think also, excuse me for cutting you off, sir. For me, it becomes an issue of safety when you're talking about
We said
my
that.
wife. Because
We talked about that.
whether you're gonna decide where if it's gonna be health or whatever,
Yes.
opposed to safety and all that.
Especially
I'm
my
gonna
friend, I
choose-
come from Africa, and I know a lot of women died
Okay.
in those days
Yeah.
from childbirth because the head of the kid was too big.
Well, that's what my mom told me. So I
I know that too.
I'm just saying.
I have 5 kids, so I know. Yeah, I had to make that
I
choice.
listen to my mom.
Like 7 hours into the labor, we have to make the choice. In Africa, they give you that choice. The hours are accumulating. She's pushing. Nothing is showing up. The doctor says, "Hey, we have this option." My ex-wife was like, "No, no, no. I want to do the natural way." And at some point, the doctor is going to say, "No, we're going to do it this way to
Because
save the
actually
child."
pushing that more in the hospitals, to do less C-sections and more vaginal. There's a big, huge campaign for it.
Because
And-
finally, we're coming to this understanding.
Yes, and they're trying not to.
That
do
the
C-sections.
midwives in the villages were smarter to enable the women to have normal childbirth. Okay, that was just one of it. So let's look at micronutrients that support your immune health. Vitamin C. How many people here are taking it? Is it a good one?
Yeah, well, you told me it wasn't.
Yeah, if you're buying it from Costco or from any of those places, it would not be a good one. He buys it from a specific website online. And so it is really good that you investigate the quality and the efficacy of what you're giving your body as nutrients. It is the most important fuel. It's like cheating at the gas pump and putting an 87 rather than a 91. Exactly. Yeah, when I see people driving to Arco, I'm like,
Bringing their Cadillacs to Arco.
it's like, why are you driving a car you can't afford? See this car that God gave us? You should drive it properly with the right fuel. Right? So don't just go to Costco and buy some shit and say because it was cheap. You're buying 87 fuel for a real amazing car, right? A Cadillac. Zinc. How many people here know that they take zinc? You take a multivite?
Yeah, with zinc in it. I don't think it's enough though.
How would you know whether it's enough? Vincent, can you put us up the RDA on the screen? And then vitamin D, that's the big one. Do you know how many percent of Americans are short on vitamin D? Like,
I'm low on vitamin D. I didn't know it.
like
But I was told.
95%. You know, we used to be out in the sun all the time. That's why you like sunbathing. It's a genetic issue why people like sunbathing. The sun, we're sun animals. It is a fundamental nutrient for us.
And K.
Yes. Well, thank you for going ahead. But you understand, even in terms of our sexuality, the vitamin D and the way it manages estrogen and testosterone is a fundamental physiological process. Okay?
Can I ask a question? This may be a weird question, but it just dawned on me because, you know, for me, Rob knows where I'm coming from. If I go stand directly in the sun, okay, I could be feeling awful.
Yeah.
But I've taken the chance to, one morning I got up and prayed and I walked.
Yeah.
And then I stopped and just stood in the sun.
Yes. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
And so doing that, man, I then began to feel something because the sun was beaming directly on my body. And it just seemed to heal itself.
Correct.
Where it was like, and I'm like, what's happening
That's
here?
why so many people are stressed today,
And then
because
I
they don't
saw-
even go outside. No, you're right, my friend.
But I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah, you know something, you're spot on. So let me say something just to what she was saying. Sometimes I just take a walk on the beach on a sunny day and enjoy that real pure oxygen. You know, that's the reason why the seaside is amazing. You're breathing pure oxygen because the sea absorbs all the carbon dioxide, monoxide from the air. Because the air we're breathing now is like 80%. But when you stand on the beach side, because the sea sucks out all the carbon dioxide, you're breathing that air, real oxygen. Plus in the sun, you just feel better. That's why you feel better. That's what he was talking about. You just feel like, wow, I can feel being alive. The sun does that for us. And did you know the sun was dying?
No.
I mean the sun. I'm not talking about climate change. Did you know the sun is dying? So if the sun died, what do you think would happen to us?
We'd all die. We would. We need it.
We would have to
The
look
Earth
for
would-
another planet. Isn't that why we're looking for another planet right away? All right, let's talk about vitamin A. I didn't want to go to something else. So I wanted to run you through, because a lot of people say they take supplements, but let me just run you through what the FDA says. It's a daily minimum requirement. We're going to give you copies of this. Biotin, 300 micrograms. Sorry, thank you. Micrograms. Folate, folic acid. See the different things it comes from? 400 micrograms. Niacin, 20 milligrams. Pantothenic acid, 10 milligrams. Riboflavin, 1.7. Thiamine, 1.5. Vitamin A, look at those units. Vitamin B, I can't even see anymore. B12, that's the big one. B12, how many people know their mutation for B12? you should know whether you're empty FHR. There are almost 60% of people cannot absorb normal B12. They need what we call the methyl B12, the methylated B12. And the methylated B12, like for me, I have to take the methyl. Most people, if you measure, you'll find that you're low on B12, and typically it's because you have the mutation. Your body cannot absorb normal B12. So you need to know that. Because you see what B12 does? Red blood cell formation, nervous system function, conversion of food into energy, and you know that at the mitochondrial level, which is where energy is produced, when the mitochondria is not functioning well, they call it the oxygenation of the mitochondria. When it dies at 30%, that's when cancer forms. So B12 is a very, very, very important supplement. All right? And then vitamin C, we all know that. A lot of people, hold on vitamin C, a lot of people load on that for immunity, especially in winter. Right? Some people really take a lot of it. Okay? Vitamin C, very important. Vitamin D, we've talked about that. See all the things that vitamin D does? Lots of stuff, guys. We're going to give you copies of that. No, it's fine. We'll give you copies. It's good that you know that. Vitamin E, vitamin K, calcium, chloride, chromium, copper. I know some of you didn't think that you take copper, right? Iodine, iron, mostly for women who are still having periods. Magnesium, we're now in the minerals. Manganese, I know people thought that was a country in Africa. Molybdenum, I know I learned all of this in high school. Phosphorus, you know it burns in the lab. Potassium, selenium, sodium, zinc. I know some people tell me that they eat good well. Do you eat all of that every day?
Probably not.
Obviously, that is the challenge.
I don't know, I give popcorn a run.
Okay, but guys, so seriously, and that's the issue. You know that. Okay, let's stay connected now. Let's stay connected. You know that the biggest reason why we get sick, the number one reason, is nutrient deficiency. That's the number one reason. It's not that, because, you know, in America, people say we eat well, but they don't understand the difference between calories and nutrients. The body actually doesn't need calories.
I agree.
Do you understand that? The body doesn't need calories. The body needs nutrients. If you starve the body of nutrients, if you starve the body of calories, it's fine. Why? It will convert the fat into energy. That's what the mitochondria would do for ATP. I'm not saying forever it doesn't need calories. The amount it needs is very minimal. So if you look at most of the American diet, you know they call it standard American diet, SAD, SAD. I know that's what everybody, it's mostly calories. And as he was saying earlier, the way we farm, we have actually depleted all the nutrients out of the soil. So typically those things will come from the soil into the plants. And then the animals will eat them. And then we will all get it, right? When we eat the plants and eat the animals. That's how we got all those nutrients. But now there's a serious depletion. We don't get any of that or enough of it. So the only way to know you are is to supplement, which is what he does. Is to supplement to make sure I am getting the nutrients, anything else is additive. That's how I'm living now. Nutrients, additive. Food for me now is like, okay. Because you know, some of us get to a stage where we don't even eat properly anymore, or we don't even eat enough. Yet we are starving ourselves of nutrients. The body needs that set every day, whether we are hungry or not. Very important, guys. If not, you're gonna get sick. Okay? Let's move to the next page, and we're gonna. Any questions so far? How we doing?
So what is the ones in the stores, the nutrients in the store?
Well, the
that
thing
I
is that,
buy?
yeah, the challenge we have is a big challenge with capitalism, right? They reduce the efficacy of the amount of nutrients and put a lot of shit inside and make it cheap. And because we're Americans, we love cheap shit. That's the point.
You couldn't put it any better than that.
It's not.
Well, but that's the fact.
It's not FDA regulated, so nobody's regulating it.
So everybody can do what they want.
Because the supplements are regulated?
No, they're not. Because they're nutrients. And our healthcare industry is focused on illness. It's not focused on wellness. So don't go blaming anybody. Our healthcare is focused on sick people. It's not focused on being healthy. Even your insurance is not for keeping you healthy. It's for taking care of you when you're sick. So don't go blaming anybody. It's not a political issue. It's just the way it's designed. So who's responsible for you being healthy? It's you. So you need to take responsibility. That's why we run this workshop. So you now become knowledgeable and say, wow, if I tell my daughter to have C-section, this is the implications for my grandkids. Let's try and make sure you don't do C-section except you really have to, because this is the implication. Do you get that? And that comes from education. You can't say nobody told me. Well, you need to open your brains and learn, because you are the ones who's going to be responsible for your health, right? So let's look at this. How carbohydrates affect immune health, right? So they call this, on the left-hand side, they call it the dirty dozen, which is the ones you have to choose organic, right? You need to choose, if you're choosing any of those fruits or vegetables, you have to choose organic. And this other one's called the Clean 15. They don't need to be organic. Okay? It's important that you know that. So it says down here, what foods are most important to eat organic? The Environmental Working Group publishes a list each year of fruits and vegetables known to contain the highest and lowest amount of pesticides, called the Dirty Dozen. Why are pesticides a big issue? Because when we test your urine, we're going to look at all the toxicity levels in there. And those pesticides, like glyphosate, are carcinogenic. And there are a lot of the pesticides that, you know, did you hear on NPR, they were talking about these weeds that are now beating Roundup? You know what Roundup is?
Oh,
Glyphosate,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So these weeds are now growing up in Illinois and everywhere that you cannot kill. They have mutated and they are beating all the pesticides. And why? So let's not look at pesticides with such an evil eye. Because we are lazy, we didn't want our fruits growing with weeds. In Africa, every day we go and weed the farm. In America, we wanted farms that were pristine with no weeds. So we use Roundup. We use pesticides. Are we understanding this? Because I know that most times when I talk to my friend, oh, you know, it's Monsanto, da, da, da. No. We wanted an easy life. We want cheap fruits, we want cheap meat, we want cheap car, we want cheap nutrients. And that's what we have arrived at. You understand? So these pesticides are being used to kill the weeds so that the fruits and things can grow without weeds. So it's easier and cheaper for us. Because if you have to weed the farm, you grew up on a farm. How many people grew up on a farm? I grew up weeding the farm. Some shit work. That's why we all ran away from the farm. Right? Some shit work. Yes. If you haven't grown on a farm, you don't know how tough life can be. 5 a.m. every day with those chicken and goats and pigs and bullshit. Yeah.
Real bull.
cleaning, and those chickens can eat and shit like crazy. Okay, so look at the clean ones. Onions, avocados, sweet corn, pineapples, mangoes, sweet peas. All of this you don't need to, because the plants do not take in the pesticides, okay? All right? Yes.
Now, this is taken into account as difference between pesticides and herbicides. Glyphosate is an herbicide,
Yeah.
not a
But
pesticide, but this list
includes both.
Both, okay.
Yes. Both herbicides and pesticides. Yes.
What's an herbicide?
It's
we're talking about the
the-
glyphosate to kill the weeds.
the weeds,
So what
yes.
does the herbicide do?
The
for-
pesticides, they kill the things that eat the plants.
I know what pesticides do, but what does the herbicide do?
Kills the weeds.
Kills us.
Yes.
Oh, it's worse than the pesticide?
Both are
They're
bad.
both bad.
Yeah.
Why?
And if we run your urine and we show you the urine samples of the, so what was your question? Why do
Why
they do?
why
How
would
do
we
they
use
use it?
both?
I just told you because we're lazy and we want cheap food.
But I mean, why not just pesticide? Why do they use herbicide too?
Because the weeds make it very difficult to harvest. Because you didn't grow up on a farm, you don't know.
He did.
Yeah, but he should have told you how tough it was. He ran away from that shit.
I already know how tough it is.
Actually,
No, I was just trying to understand what.
weeding a tomato farm or weeding that shit,
It's a lot of work.
it killed me.
Oh.
It is a lot of
Then
work.
you'd have to charge more and you wouldn't have market share.
Exactly. And then you guys will say, why are tomatoes so expensive?
So I know you're saying, I mean, I guess I'm trying to get the gist of what you're saying is, even though it was a lot of work, it was healthier, the food.
Right.
Yes,
When you
but
don't-
Americans don't care about health. They care about quantity.
There you go. It was about.
That's why you go to IHOP. Eat all the pancakes you can eat. Yeah, let's go to IHOP. And we pour the, what do they call
Syrup.
it? The syrup on top of 10 pancakes. And we love it. You ravenous. Calories. Yeah, mix it all. Sorry, am I enjoying this shit?
Well, you're making us really, really do some soul searching and thinking about our health is what you're doing.
I've lived here for 20 years. I lived in England for 10 years. So I know the culture. My kids love to eat this shit too, right? So I know. I used to go to IHOP too, and what's that black place where they go and eat waffles and chicken and fried chicken? Man, when you pour that butter and that syrup on that shit, it is amazing. It kills you right there. Right?
How about the buffalo wings?
Exactly. But it kills you right there, doesn't it? Okay, let's look at proteins. Okay? So your body relies on protein to provide important building blocks for the immune system. Right? You're going to read all of this. Protein consumption is also important to build and maintain muscle mass, especially for women. Muscle mass and fat. You see, this is the challenge when we do your body composition. You get a sense of how much weight your body should have and muscle mass, and it gives you a comparison. He just did his, and if you don't exercise and eat proteins appropriately, you're gonna have more fat than muscle, and that is not a good thing. And because as you grow older, you'll start breaking bones. So with the weakness of the bone, weakness of your tendons and your muscle mass, it's easier for you when you fall to break. That's how most old people die, falling and breaking shit and dying. Okay, so it's important that you start looking at your musculoskeletal architecture as you grow older and address that, plus the value that it creates with your improved immune system. Okay, all right, so let's go to the next page. I'm going to walk you through this a bit faster. And fats. How do fats affect your immune health? So use extra virgin oil for lower heat cooking. Lower heat cooking. It's actually better to eat the oils without frying. If you're going to fry, you need to use oils that have a higher, right? Sprinkle chia and ground flax seeds in oatmeal smoothies. Eat more oily, low mercury fish. So what is an oily, low mercury fish? Who knows the answer?
Well,
Why
Right, so
catch salmon?
How about trout?
travel where?
From the, coming up through the Alaskans, I don't think they get very much.
Yeah, so it's
Wild.
mostly fish caught
Wild caught.
wild.
Wild.
So when you go buy fresh fish, I mostly would buy from Ranch 99. You need to look for wild caught fish
Small fish.
that has,
Like beer battered cod.
yes, exactly. What?
Beer battered.
Beer battered.
No, fish and chips.
No fish and chips, even from England. Come on, you don't even know the oil, except you do it at home. And you do use very good oil for that. Yes, okay, all right. We'll use coconut oil or avocado oil for higher temperature cooking. So low temperature cooking, we're using olive oil. High temperature, coconut or avocado oil. Those are the oils that will maintain their integrity with the temperature differences. Is that making sense?
Now we are seeing grape seed oil. How is it?
It depends how it's made. I don't know how it's made. But if it's good grapeseed oil, high quality original grapeseed oil, then that's very good. Okay? All right? So eating the right oils is also good for your immune system. So look at the healthy fats and the unhealthy fats on the next page. And then it also shows you how to choose healthy seafood. So you see the healthier seafood, mackerel, anchovy. The Vietnamese eat that a lot, very smelly, but very tasty. Herring, trout, sardines, which I love, especially the one in olive oil.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Moroccan.
Huh?
Moroccan.
The Moroccan sardines, yes, very good. Crab meat, the body meat, fish oil, eel, the mackerel, saddlefish, bluefin tuna. So if you look at the healthy ones, and you look at also the levels of mercury. So they look at, so that's what this graph is. On one side, it's looking at the increasing level of omega-3 acids, right? Fatty acids, which is good. The higher you go, and then the lower the mercury as you go down. And the one of the fish that I love is a very bad fish. Look at where catfish is. Low on omega and high on mercury, because most catfish is farm grown in those ponds. All right? And tilapia, I like them. I eat them once in a while. That's why when you go to the store, these are the cheaper fishes. Right? I don't know. You look at where swordfish is. Oh, swordfish is right down. It looks like it's a good one. It's in the bottom. Yeah, it looks like it's good. The swordfish, right? That's what you're saying.
Should get
No,
that-
not
get that
so
upside
one, it's
down.
called swab.
It says increasing levels of mercury with the arrow pointing down. You sure it's
It's
not
all
upside
good.
Oh,
down?
that's true. It should be upside down. Yes, it's going down, increasing. Yeah, it should be
Yeah,
up.
I knew
Yeah.
that- I knew that swordfish was
Sorry,
high in,
sorry,
high in
sorry.
mercury.
So it should be up. So everything on that top line is where we want to be with low mercury. Thank you for pointing that out. So everything on the top line has the lowest levels of mercury, and then the top right box has the best because low mercury and high EPA, right? High EPA and high DHA. Okay, making sense? Okay, so let's look at building an immune boosting meal, right? So they want to look at vegetables, fruits and legumes, olive oil and nuts, yogurt and cheese, fish and seafood, eggs and poultry, red meat. So at the top, right? So if you're eating more of the bottom of the pyramid, then that's more fascinating for you. So that's very good for you. You want to be at the bottom of the pyramid. So you tend to find out that most healthy eating is in the vegetarian, Mediterranean kind of diets, right? But then we get caught when we do the toxicity testing that some of the
What I'm asking is, does the virgin have to limit their gift? Right? Because it was.
why are we having problems with that? Can we resolve it inside? Are you okay? We could have done that later on. Why are we doing that? Okay. So you see the bottom of the pyramid there. So let's look at elimination diets. Okay, let's turn to the next page.
Okay.
So immune boosting herbs and spices. How many people here eat garlic? Do you cook at home? Okay. When do you buy your garlic?
I just
No,
buy
I'm
the
Chinese
imitation
garlic.
Okay, you need to
But I
go.
buy
Is it
the
bleach?
clothes when I,
Oh,
when I
and then you okay, do it
I'm going
yourself.
back to my bullet.
Right, we just.
Okay. I buy it at farmer's market.
I just buy the fresh clothes, but it doesn't make.
What about ginger?
I understand.
Turmeric
Yeah.
and curcumin, you know they are very similar. Oregano, you just use the one in the bottle or you use the leaves. Coriander, chilies. You don't like chilies? And basil. And basil. Okay. So immune boosting broth. You know, that's why I love Vietnamese pho, the beef broth,
Okay. So can I
right?
talk about the-
Because, and that's where Ayurvedic cooking comes in. You know, in the old culture, they would take all the chicken bones and the beef bones, and in here you go to the butcher and everybody throws it away. They will boil it for like 2 days and use the broth. It is some of the richest foods you could actually eat because in the broth, it's broken down all the fats and the amino acids, so it's easy for absorption. Because part of the challenge when you're eating meats or fish or proteins or all of that, the body struggles with breaking down macronutrients. So if you break it down for the body, it's actually easier, right? Which is what we do with little kids. So the body doesn't struggle. Now you have all these problems of indigestion or fatting or bloating because the body is struggling with breaking down macronutrients. So if you're eating broths like the bone broth that they're talking about here, which is from chicken, turkey, or
No,
fish
what I'm
bones
asking
or
you is that
beef,
this cannot keep happening there.
or you're looking at a vegetable broth,
I know that.
right? So these are all examples. Sleep, the big problem of sleep. And typically it's either hormonal or it's a gastro issue with inflammation that's dealing with it, right? Okay. So sleep is one of the biggest challenges to the immune system. At least you should be sleeping between 7 to 9 hours a day.
Okay.
Yes.
What are you talking about? My credit card
Average.
the security?
That's after what age? Is baby?
It doesn't matter what age.
496.
If you're not sleeping above 7 hours a day, there is a problem.
Exactly.
You should fix it. There is a problem. It is not normal. You're gonna get sick. It is not normal. It doesn't matter what the age. If you're sleeping above 9 hours, there is a problem. Bathroom?
No,
Oh, you can sit over there. It's actually more comfortable.
He said it's cold.
I can't.
Yes. Do you need a blanket or something? Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So sleep, guys, is really critical and you need to address it. So there is a lot of guidance issues they will provide you here. A lot of people have a ritual, like you shower, right? You shower, no phones in the room, no TV in the room, right? You don't eat late. So for those who cannot sleep, if you're sleeping and you have those things in the room, that's fine. For me, I don't care. I fall asleep in 2 seconds wherever I am. But for some people, they need the drama and the ritual on how to sleep, right? And if you do need that, then you need to make sure you build the environment that provides you with that. So it's very important that you understand what you are and how you're going to deal with that. Okay, exercise. You must exercise. And if you find it challenging to do that, then just get a mat in your bedroom. There are a lot of free exercise programs on YouTube, right? Especially, number one, stretching. Helps with digestion. Just lie down on the mat and stretch properly every day or twice a day. A lot of people say they're too busy to exercise. That's not true.
You're
Right?
looking at me, Charles.
You know, that's what's gonna happen when we arrive in heaven. God is gonna look at us and we say, yeah, I know my sins, right? So all of us struggle. You know, we're all humans. We all struggle with the same thing. Nobody is perfect at any of these things. We all struggle with it. I have to wake up at 5 in the morning, feeling terrible, or I need to go play tennis now. Can I just sleep another 30 minutes? We all feel that way. And then I kick myself out of bed and I go do it. And because I know, that's the key about exercise, I know how I'm gonna feel afterwards. It is the afterwards that is really the big reward about exercise. I know how I'm gonna feel afterwards. It's like also going out in the sun or going out and taking a walk and getting fresh air. It's always after, knowing how you're gonna feel. So when you get back from work in the evening and you feel like really shitty, that's when you should go exercise. Seriously. When you're stressed, you're not feeling good, some guy pissed you off at work, that's when you go exercise. Because if you then go to bed, it's actually worse. It doesn't get resolved. If you went to exercise, it will get resolved. Okay? Very important, guys. So if you fight with your husband or your wife, go take a walk, go exercise. You come back and it will not mean anything anymore. It never means anything. So, right? So energy, our cell system, I want you to go to this picture. We're going to look at mitochondria. What is this topic problem? What is it? Everything okay? Good. All right. Cycle of cellular energy production. So let's look at, you know, the mitochondria. Everybody knows where the mitochondria is? Where is the mitochondria? Where in the cell? In the center? Yeah, I like the imagination, yeah. It is in the cell. Every cell has one. No, every cell has a mitochondria. How many mitochondria in the cell? That's homework. Go find out. And what is the job of the mitochondria? It's really, that's where energy is made. It is like the sun of our cell. So the sun is collected through plants, and those plants provide what the engine needs. That's how God architected this shit. It works. Okay? So it now goes there. So we produce ATP production, and then free radicals are generated. Free radicals are very bad for us. They cause cancer. So we need something to quench that pool of free radicals. That's why we take antioxidants. Earlier he was talking about some of the antioxidants he takes. You need to take antioxidants to quell the gathering of these free radicals. These free radicals, they're like rascals running on the playground. So you need to quench them.
That's why there are a lot of complications.
Yeah, so you need glutathione, or what we call antioxidants, to actually quench these free radicals because they end up called what we call oxidative stress.
Would that
op-
be like the green teas and
yes, all of those antioxidants, we need to take a lot of them.
About cranberry juice.
Yes, a lot of them. You need to take, as long as
I
it's
drink all
real
cranberry.
cranberry, not sweet, sugar. Yeah.
Not fruit
I
and
drink
same
all
thing.
of it.
Yeah, actually, I go to farmer's market and buy the actual cranberry itself and chew it. Sometimes I eat with the seeds, right?
Yeah, I know, the dry cranberries?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
exactly, right? So look at this cycle of free radical neutralization. That's what I was just telling you. Free radicals are very, very challenging. So look at the things that will quench free radicals. Glutathione takes those free radicals. How many people here did chemistry?
did what?
Chemistry.
In
So,
school?
Yeah, in school.
Yeah.
Yeah, so free radicals are like those positive or negative things that are running around. And what do? They bind with the good things and take them out of your system. So you want to quench them. This is what these things do. Free radicals, very big issue. So glutathione, lipoic acid, vitamin C, vitamin E, they all do that neutralization of free radicals. And this is one of the big things that compromises our immune system. Free radicals running around, okay? So before you guys came in, I was talking about the GI, our gut health. We spent a lot of time here. Actually, it was our first, we have a 24-month program to restore, reverse, and bring you to wellness. In that 24-month program, the first 6 months we focus in rebuilding your GI architecture. It is really the most important physiological function in your body, because that is where everything comes into your body, right? So let's just quickly go through it. So they're giving you some of the guidance here on gut health. Chew your food thoroughly. The Buddhist says you should chew your rice 100 times, each mouthful. And if you do that, you end up eating only 1 or 2 spoons of rice.
Yeah, because you're tired.
Good. That's the point. So you don't eat too many calories. Remove offending foods. We showed you the good things and the bad things, right? Earlier on. Ensure proper amount of function of stomach acid and enzymes. For example, I take digestimes every day, and I also take probiotics every day. So I rebalance my bacteria, but also I give my stomach extra enzymes for dealing with the breaking down the food. I just spoke about Ayurvedic. The challenge is that if you run out of the enzymes for breaking down proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, then you're always struggling with digestion. So you want to make sure that you give yourself digestive enzyme support to help with the breaking down of the food. Okay, that's why you do the balance plus the enzyme addition. Okay, and that digestimes will actually give you the different combinations for proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, what we call macronutrients, the breakdown of that. Because if they are not broken down in the stomach, they all come out of your poop. So what was the point eating anyway? Right? All that expensive food that sometimes you go and eat, it all comes out. So if you take the digestine, so now it breaks down the proteins, the fats, and the carbohydrates, so that the stomach wall can access and absorb. Then now it is in the bloodstream. Now then the cells have to absorb it. So when we run all these diagnostics, we can tell you what's in your bloodstream, we can tell you what's inside your cell, we can tell you what's in your stool, and we can tell you what's in your urine. And it gives us a comprehensive picture of how well your body is managing nutrients. Is that making sense? And you need to know that as a baseline. Because just saying I'm fine is not good enough until you're sick. And when you're sick, she manages a hospital. She knows that when people are sick, diagnosing what caused it is the most challenging part about the clinician's job. And most times they don't know. Because for each of us, it's a combination of 100 different things. So it is really better for us to stay well than to get sick. Because God built an architecture. Sorry if you didn't believe in God, I do, because this is not happenstance. God gave us an architecture that heals itself if you give it the right nutrients. The body has an architecture called homeostasis. Homeostasis is a way of the body to bring itself back to where it should be, given the right nutrients. Are we clear about that? Yes. And so that really is our job. How do we do that? So now let's go on to talk about some of the other things. Protect the gut barrier by avoiding excess alcohol intake and sugar. You know, sugar is the biggest enemy in America, not Trump or China or Russia. Sugar. That's where we should be developing all our energy of hate and anger towards sugar, not towards Russia or climate change. You understand? Sugar is the enemy, number one. Keep microbiome populations in balance. I just spoke about that. That's why I take daily probiotics. And then keep your detox systems moving. You need to poo at least twice a day. Poo. And if you're drinking 8 to 10 glasses of water a day, you should pee at least every 2 hours. Because it's about detoxing the system. If you're not drinking water, the toxin is just staying in your system. So if you drink water, it's gonna help you push out. And we also have...
Just had a question about the urination aspect that you just, when you urinate a lot.
Sometimes it's your prostate.
Okay, that's where I was
Yes.
gonna go. 'Cause I was gonna
And that's
say,
a different, that's a
what if
hormonal
you're
issue.
not-
That's a hormonal issue.
No, I just wanted
Yeah.
to.
Both men and women
know.
suffer from that.
Okay.
Yeah,
because,
they start peeing
I drink
more
water,
often
but I
with
wanna
less pee.
Right.
But you know when you were young,
So
you
you
would
can't
stand there
really
and pee
determine,
like for
right?
5 minutes and say, is this pee not stopping? Now you go and pee 2 seconds, the pee is done. When you were younger, you could stand there and pee forever. Do you remember when you used to like pee and you're like, come on, pee! When am I gonna stop peeing? Now you pee, it's done. 1 hour later, it's done. Okay, so that's growing old and hormones. Okay, but we also run big detox programs. You should detox almost like every 3 months to help the body get rid of those toxins that we're talking about. We also run IV toxicity, so you can come and actually detox from the heavy metals and things. Okay, so let's look at the GI barrier, which is our first line of defense. What do we mean by our first line of defense? Against what?
Against disease.
No, there is no disease out there in the atmosphere.
Well,
You
no,
mean
you said
infections,
there's-
pathogens?
Well, pathogens,
Yes,
infections.
not
That's
disease.
what I mean.
Yes, because you could.
It could turn into something, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's our first line of
things
defense is
adverse
the
to
gut.
our system.
Yes. Yeah, pathogens. Yes, I agree. Not disease.
Okay.
Yeah, because I could drink a cup of pathogens and be fine, and you could drink 1 teaspoon of it and be sick because of your constitution, right? Depends on how strong we are. That's why if you go to Vietnam and you drink water, you'll be sick, but the people in Vietnam have been drinking it and they're fine, right? So it just depends on your constitution and how well you can take the diversity, okay? So look at factors that promote a healthy barrier: healthy diet with adequate fiber, vitamins A and D, zinc, and probiotics. What are some of the damaging factors? Chronic stress. Most of us cannot even get away from that. Imbalanced intestinal bacteria. How many people here know how balanced their bacteria is? In your gut.
How would you know?
We run tests. That's what the
Well,
stool
I mean,
test
but
would tell
without
us.
your test, how would you know?
You wouldn't. You would also know. Can you put the Bristol stool chart? I'm gonna see that by looking at your poo. You don't look at your poo? I love my poo. I look at my poo and I write literature on my poo. I write poetry on my poo. It's your poo. Why are you not looking at it? We're gonna show you why you should look at it.
Ooh.
Oh, you said poo, I thought you, okay, my bad. Not me, the poo. I'm going to
Look at the poo before you go.
Oh, no, I know what mine look like, sir. I'm good.
Good. You see that number 4? If your poo doesn't look like that every time, then there's a problem. So God gave us ways to know this stuff without testing. Do you think you are a number 4 poo person? So every time that you poo, you ask that a very interesting question. Every time that you poo, you should look at the poo, because your poo tells you what's going on. Yes. That's the first line. Tells you what's going on. Even before you come to me. Every time you go poo, when you do a number 4 poo like I did this morning, woo, it's a number 4. I'm doing good. See that? And if you keep having a number 1 or a number 5, see that? Or a number 6, you should be talking to us. And most people are constipated. Most women are constipated. They poo like once every 2 or 3 days. That's serious constipation. And don't go and take some stupid shit on the counter for your, cause you should come, let's fix it. If not, I know Americans, so they'll go, oh, let me go to Walgreens and get this for my constipation. You make it worse, right? So she asked that question, that's the answer. And actually you should have a copy of this printed on your toilet seat. And don't flush while you're sitting down. Stand up, look at the poo before you flush. It is your poo. My God, fall in love with your poo. It came from inside of you. It's like a baby. Isn't it? It's like, oh Lord, thank you for this baby. All right, the microbiome, right? I don't want to go deep into all of this. You guys are going to take these notes home. You're going to pour over it. Okay, let's look at stress. Stress. That thing that kills all of us.
I'm sorry, John.
Yeah.
Excuse me. You have to look at which rating is your.
No, he know already.
Oh.
I know.
Yeah.
No,
He's a 4 guy. He said he's a 4 guy.
He's good, but I mean,
Yeah.
did you see the
No, he wasn't interested in the other people. He said those are the rest of Americans. Mostly the Democrats have poo number 2. Sorry, I'm joking.
I know.
And the Republicans have poo number 6, yeah. Okay, so stress management tips. Identify stressors as well as steps you can take to change or eliminate these factors. You know, you are going to come to other workshops, we're going to talk about stress. Stress is really a big issue. And there are 4 kinds of stress. There's stress from sleep, there's stress from inflammation, there's stress from eating sugar, and then there is stress based on our perception of life. So those 4 stresses, we have strategies how we work around them. So I'm not going to talk about that. So only 1/4 of our stress is the stress that we generate. And we generate that stress because we are not happy with what God has given us. Or we are not happy with what we have worked for, right? We want more than what is available. So we're not happy that we're healthy.
I'm sorry, but could you just give me an example of stress? Sleep stress?
Yeah, if you're not sleeping more than 7 hours a night, you're gonna be stressed.
Oh, okay.
The body is stressed because it's not getting enough rest. And it doesn't have enough time to clear all the debris for poo and for pee. The body needs that amount of time to clean everything out. That's why even people, you start beginning to show signs of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and all of that. Okay? All right. We're running out of time. So one of the things is to keep a thought and gratitude journal. For me, that gratitude thing, I was just talking about it. I wake up every morning and I'm thankful. Right? Because my mother used to tell me when I was a kid, she was a doctor, she would take me to the hospital and say, look at these people. Who's better off? Oh, that one has no leg. That one just lost an arm. And say, now do you see how amazing your life is? And I won't complain for a week until I complain again. Then she'll take me to the hospital. So gratefulness. It's very important you wake up every day and say, wow. When you look in the mirror and say, imagine how good looking I am. Imagine that the earth is an amazing place because they have me, right? I'm healthy, I'm strong, I'm happy, I'm blessed, right? That gratefulness creates perspective and balances our lives. It's very, very important for health. The immune system loves happy people. And happiness is a choice. We know that because when we run clinical trials, we know that even placebo works. If you deceive people that they're taking a drug, they actually get well sometimes without taking the drug. It's all in the head, right? So choosing to be happy. That's why I say choosing, because being happy is a choice. Try yoga or Tai Chi. See all these Chinese people in the park. Right? You think they're crazy. It's a good thing. It helps bring down stress. Schedule adequate rest and downtime. Take time off. Even if it means just driving to the beach. Go walk. Take a 1 hour, 2 hour walk. Just relax. Right? We just get stuck with our stupid bullshit TV. And then all those stupid opinion people on TV annoy you when there is really no value in all that crap. There's no value because whoever wins, we still live, right? And we all get upset, and you get sick and you die, and the system continues. You see that? The system will continue without you. So your anger and frustration doesn't help the system. Exercise regularly, ideally in nature, right? You want to go out and be in nature, and then supplementation and all the other things, right? I just told you what those 4 stress things were: mental, emotional, blood sugar, inflammation, and sleep, right? It's all there, okay? And we actually teach on all of that. Toxins and the environment. We started that already. Our environment is heavily toxin, so go on allergens and toxins. If you have allergies, you're sick. Yes, you should not be allergic to anything. God created a perfect world. So if you have allergies, it's a sign that your immune system is not working well. So you should go fix it, go clean it. So let's look at some of the toxins that we find. We find aluminum, arsenic, cadmium, lead, and mercury. And what are the sources? Anti-acid medications, antiperspirants, cans, household detergents, fertilizers, fungicides, tobacco products, paints, automobile exhaust, large fish such as shark and swordfish. Okay? You see that? So it's almost everything around us. By detoxing. Or wearing a mask, like when you go to Vietnam and people riding bikes, everybody's wearing a mask. Or in Japan, when they're outside, most people riding bicycles, they wear masks. You see Americans ride their bikes, sucking all that air on the freeway without a mask. In Japan, you won't see anybody on a bike without a mask. So culturally, we're just not aware and paying attention. You understand? So if I go to these other cultures, I can just see, wow, these guys get it. He's riding a motorbike, he has his mask on.
Just doesn't look cool.
I know it's a cool thing. No, but you're cool already here. Who cares? When you dead men look cool too, right? Then look at this thing, volatile compounds and solvents, dioxins, and then phthalates and parabens, lotions, soap. We even had to change our toothpaste, deodorant, and fragrances. You know that thing they found at the bottom of the sea, right? That little rubber things that are in your toothpaste, that greasy thing in your toothpaste, it's all plastic. And when they went to the bottom of the ocean, mounds of it. You know that gritty thing in your toothpaste? You never thought, why is this thing causes friction to clean my teeth? It's plastic.
Microbit.
Yeah, it's plastic. So if you use this toothpaste from Colgate, you get all that bullshit. And you're swallowing most of it too. And it's plastic.
What about close-up? Is it in
Yes. You need to have an organic toothpaste.
I use all types, so it don't matter.
Yeah, but I'm just educating you. So when you're talking about climate change and you're matching and fighting, you need to say you're contributing to it too. So when you wash your teeth and you spit, it goes down, all that is going into the fish, right? So this is, you see this thing? We have it in all our offices and at home. Also a water filter, we're gonna go through that. Clean your food. So always wash your food with vinegar and water. All your vegetables and fruits, right? So you can take out all the surface toxins. Clean your air.
That's a HEPA?
Yes, it has a double filter. Clean your home. Clean your skin. Clean your body. Okay? That's the only way you can do it. You were asking that question. You know, in most other cultures, the shoes you bring from outside, you don't take into the house. It's poisonous. So you leave it outside. Right?
You hear that, babe?
Right.
Say that again.
Oh, now you'll do it, because you heard it.
Well, no, the shoes, because you walk around with all this bullshit, right? So when you come, you leave it, and you go into the house. That way, you leave the floor of the house. You step into another set of shoes that are house shoes, and you have, even some cultures, you undress, remove your clothes, and leave that like on the ground floor.
Because of the toxins from the
Yes, because you're bringing all of that. In my culture, it's like bad energy. They used to call it bad energy. So you left it all out there to enter the house.
I just assume most people did it, no disrespect to the Asian culture. And most of our neighbors are Asian, and they all do it. A lot of black people do it too. I thought it was a preference, and you prefer to keep your home clean
From the outside.
from
toxins.
outside, whatever.
Toxins.
And
In
it
our
had nothing
culture
to
in
do with
Africa, we
nothing
say
else.
it's about the
You
spirits.
know, it's a
That's
cleanliness thing,
yeah.
not so much germs or you're gonna get
No,
sick.
but it is.
It was a cleanliness thing.
Yeah, but it's the opposite, right? I'm telling you why.
No, I believe you.
Yeah.
I have no problem.
Okay, so especially shoes and all of
It
that.
works
You're
for
stepping on
whoever.
all the bullshit. So just leave that there so you can step it and keep your home clean. Okay? All right. So I'm gonna end here. So are there any questions? You're gonna take this material with you, and our immune system is like our that's what really keeps us alive. Okay? I want you to know that we run workshops on these 6 systems every Saturday, and every Sunday we're going to start running workshops on weight management. Because our friends from across the hospital have demanded, we are going to respond. And all my friends have said everywhere. My dry cleaner said this morning, Charles, I need to come, but it has to be Sunday. Everybody's like, I need to come, but it needs to be on a Sunday. So we're going to do it on
What
Sunday.
time on Sunday?
At the same time, 10 to 12. Okay? Any questions? So we are going to do body composition measurement. You're ready today, right?
Yes.
Okay, so why don't you step back? You're going to start, and then your husband.
No,